Good evening, everybody. Welcome to League of Extraordinary Inventors. I'm your host, Mike from Faraday Research. It is Free Energy Friday. It is April 4th, 2025. Welcome to the show. We got Ben, we got Lulu, we got Philip, and it is Friday, and my allergies suck. I've been suffering for the last 24 hours. I've been dying. So I'm going to do the best I can tonight. I'm feeling really crappy right now, but I'm going to muscle through it. I'm going to man up, and we'll get through the night. And we got our great panel with us tonight. Live chat is open. Questions, comments, please light up the chat like you guys usually do. And we'll get the show on the road. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Everybody's good. Lulu, Ben. Yeah. So, Mr. Ben, you were on holidays, a staycation, right? Oh, your mic is off, Ben.
There we go. I took a week sabbatical, so it should be back to I should be back to business as usual next week. I'll have some new lab equipment as well. And a new camera, so that should be exciting.
I got a new hat. My wife gave me this for my birthday, so I got a new Blue Jays hat.
Nice.
Blue Jays, cool.
Yeah.
Is that baseball?
Yeah, Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Blue Jays baseball hat. It's like military green with Blue Jay.
So you can hide in case of a World War III?
Yeah. Yeah, don't get me started on politics. There's so much crap on the politics thing right now. It's just driving me nuts.
Yeah.
The more I find out what's with our Liberal Party here, oh my God, it's just lighting like a torch under my butt. Oh.
Yeah, the important thing is to vote on the end of April, because otherwise we can't complain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you don't vote, we cannot complain.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Actually, George Carlin had a good one. He says, on voting day, I don't even leave the house. If I don't like anybody, so they say, well, you can't complain. You didn't vote. Well, no, you're the guys who voted in the party that's incompetent. So I have every right to complain about the parties because I didn't vote for them. Right?
Okay, you might laugh at me. This is a futuristic kind of idea. For the past 3 voting things in the United States for the presidency, I have done a handwritten ballot, and I've put one of my kids' names on there. Every 4 years, I put one of my kids' names. So far, I'm 3, and I still have 1 more. So I figured this, quantum computers hold this information, right? Yeah. And if we consciously engineer the future, well, I'm putting a name that's going to be always there. The record of that vote is not going to ever be, it's not going to disappear. For what? For a presidency vote. You understand? Pre-planning before, when they're young. And if you get this, the algorithm of that name to be recognized and associated with that vote, think about it. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but that's what I do for 4 years. I don't elect anybody. I choose my own person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, Lulu, I wanted to say something. What was it? I went to a Q&A, the defense the defense conference. About regarding this year, I went to a Q&A, and then I asked them, I asked them if it's about applying for the competition, and then I asked them on the little chat in the chat window, um, if if my technology is TRL 1, but I'm not sure if the U.S. military got the capability to generate the necessary amount of power, and then I said it's for the force field. The, Overskin he scored now. Overskin he just equalized the number of goal of Gretzky, by the way. So
Oh,
it's
he matched his record.
yeah, he matched his record, and he
Yeah,
didn't beat it yet, but he
yeah.
matched the record. But anyway, I was in a QA fac, and I asked them this question, and they just like banned me. They ignore my question because it's a top secret question, I guess.
Generating enough power to move on to the next phase.
To create the force field,
Yeah, the
and
differential. Yeah, I know what you're talking.
so I said I'm not sure if the military got the technology already or not, and then they
They
just
wouldn't give you an answer.
yeah, they just completely ignored me, and like they waited for half an hour for them to answer my question, but and they named the name, so I know to who they answer exactly. So yeah, they just ignore
Interesting.
my question. That's pretty
No,
weird.
I think you caught them off guard, maybe, and because it's classified, probably top secret or uh,
Yeah,
a certain black program, which they can't really touch on, so you have to dance around it, right?
Phil, they
yeah,
didn't understand what you're talking about. It took them 30 minutes for talking to you to understand what you're talking about, for them to try to answer, to the closest to their ability. That's why
That's
they didn't
probably
answer
true. Yeah,
you, directly. They just wanted to extract information from you, then try to find something that in their, like knowledge database to answer you. But,
yeah.
you
you know
don't,
what?
sorry, go ahead.
What I was going to say is, you caught them off guard. Talk about technology that maybe they don't have enough info on, so it's like you kind of went over their head, and they're not
Yeah,
used to that. So they kind of had to dance around it, maybe.
yeah,
I don't know. I'm just guessing, but it sounds.
yeah. It makes sense. I mean, kind of playing with fire a little bit, and they don't know. They didn't answer obviously, but um, they dance around the question, and they just didn't. They just ignored it at the end of the day. But
Because it doesn't exist for them. If you know it, you invented like the whole idea of, how to generate that force field, but they don't have that, and they don't know what that is. So they're
yeah,
not going to know how to answer you. You know,
okay. But talking about the what I was saying last week. I remember I was saying, oh, we need 10 petaamps to generate the force field. Um, by the way, I got some illumination in my at the Pantera show, and I said, well, I don't need 10 petaamps. I just need 10 petacoulomb. So that means I can use static electricity, like highly compressed static electricity, and fortunately that exists. It's
Yeah, you know
possible
what?
to.
Know who you might want to look into in the history books? Donald J. Trump, Donald Trump's uncle. He was the guy who went into Tesla's room after he passed away, and they
Oh yeah,
confiscated all his notes. Now he made a very powerful ultrastatic generator. Now,
oh
as
yeah,
far as how much power it put out, I'm not sure on that. You might have to dig into it, but I would look up what Donald J. Trump was working on. That might
yeah,
give you an idea on how to generate the power using electrostatics.
what's his first name? Donald.
Donald Donald J. Trump. I'm trying to remember. John
Okay,
Trump. John Trump. It
John
was
Trump. Okay.
yeah, it was Donald Trump's uncle.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
interesting.
yeah, he was an MIT engineer, um, well known back in the 30s and 40s.
Okay.
So you might want to look into that what he was working on.
Okay. And interesting. I'll check it out. Thanks. And to go back to, I just want to share. I'm just going to share my screen here. Oh, who scored? Ovechkin. Okay, so that's it. Ovechkin just did the hat trick and beat Gretzky's record.
Wow. How many years did he hold that record for? About
Wow.
35, 40 years almost. Hey, it was a
Yeah,
long record. Eh?
yeah. But he doesn't matter. Um, McDavid is going to beat him over
McDavid? Yeah.
again. Yeah.
You think so? Yeah, Connor McDavid.
Well,
Yeah.
at this rate, yeah.
We're
How
talking
about
hockey, right?
Yeah,
yeah, we
yeah.
switch from physics to hockey.
Yeah.
We're off the rails. We're off the rails. Okay, you're in the rubber room.
Yeah. No, let's go back to physics. Can you see my screen?
It's like my kids when I go
Yep.
off the rails, they go, nurse, that one. It's like,
Wow, what an incompetent goaltender he is. He just let all the goals go in. But yeah, but that was a great shot from Ovechkin. He shot from the point, la point, like he usually does.
yeah.
His signature shot. So yeah, so that's remember my simulation. I actually um, I added the magnetic forces this time, but they're very similar to the electric
Why are
forces.
a question for you? Why are one set of particles rotating in the opposite direction of the other set of particles? I've
Yeah,
always
the one on
wondered
the
that.
left is based on Newton, and the one on the right is based on finite theory that
Right,
adds time dilation.
right.
But it's
So yeah, it looks like the one on the left is like just chaotic. It's out of
yeah,
control.
yeah. But the one on the right is gonna turn chaotic as well over time. It's impossible the electrons stay perfectly in orbit. That's what I want to say. The core mathematics, the whatever they say that the speed of the electron is, the tangential speed is, according to the mainstream, is wrong because I use the exact same mass, velocities, distances, everything, and it doesn't work at all using the mainstream theories. See now that the right is getting chaotic as well, so it loses, and the it's impossible. It stays.
Now, is
It's
that because the energy density decreases in respect of time, or
no, it's just chaos. There's something the it's impossible the electron stays in the perfect orbit at the perfect distance at the perfect velocity. You know,
Entropy.
yeah, the the
so there's no specific pattern ever. Like it just
yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
well, it goes into unequilibrium, right?
Yeah, so let's restart it again. So it starts in a perfect equilibrium, but just
Right,
doesn't last. It's impossible
right,
it lasts.
right.
It,
Now, when you go
it's
into unequilibrium, that's what creates infinite motion.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? When a system goes into uh, uh, equilibrium, the system dies off. Now, if you're able to keep that system in unequilibrium, which what's his name, Thomas Bearden talks about, if you keep it in an unequilibrium state, that is perpetual motion. It keeps everything moving. And that's the way the universe works. It's one continuous movement. And now, if it goes into equilibrium, it disappears. So it'll be like virtual particles that come into reality for a brief time and then leave reality. And that's
Yeah.
happening all the time. That shows that there is equilibrium in that particle. It can't sustain itself. But if it goes into an unequilibrium particle, now it stays in reality. It stays as an actual physical property, right?
Is there
Yeah.
a difference between the two elements that you're simulating? Like, I see one that has like 4 electrons, I think, or a little, or are they like?
Yeah, the one on the left is using Newton, and the one on the right is using finite theory. But finite theory just adds time dilation to
Okay.
the formula. The one on the left, is just basic Newton mathematics. But the one on the right stays stays organized for a longer time, but still, and it's gonna end up all disorganized like that. And in real nature, it's impossible. It's the same thing with quarks. If we look at quarks, yeah, I didn't prepare the quark simulation here, but the quarks, they're all very chaotic. They're not in a little bubble like that defines their playground. The quarks can go outside the little proton or neutron or whatever. It's there's nothing that prevents the quark from getting outside the walls of the protons and the neutron. You know what I mean? So uh, yeah, I need to update my. I need to
No,
update
it's
my.
definitely you're onto something
But
because
yeah, my point is the tangential velocities. I cannot use the mainstream tangential velocities, otherwise nothing's gonna work. The electrons
yeah,
are gonna navigate away from the nucleus. So the
yeah,
mainstream is all wrong, man. It's pretty
yeah.
bad.
So, do you have plans on getting this theory into like a little practical, uh, experiment or?
Well, at the atomic level, I wanted to simulate like chemical reactions and maybe eventually create metamaterials that can possibly like hold very dense charges or things like that. Then that would be really
Yeah.
cool.
Well,
Metamaterial.
yeah, like like what Townsend Brown was doing for his capacitors that were his lifters. He was using paraffin wax, tin foil, and tar, and he was doing
Yeah,
layers. So if you want to create electrostatic field, these type of capacitors he was building back in the 1920s and 30s, that's exactly what he was doing. And they
What's
were
his name
able to
again?
T. Townsend Brown.
Okay, T. Townsend Brown.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check it out.
So he was one of the pioneers of anti-gravity that the U.S. Military was working on back then. So
Okay,
yeah, making these electrostatic condensers is where the direction I think you should be going.
okay, interesting. Thanks, T.
Yeah,
Townsend Brown.
yeah. So it's using paraffin wax, tin foil, tar, and just layers, like 3, 4 layers thick. And he was charging them with like 200,000 volts.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, like really high electrostatic, very, very little current, but very, very high voltages.
okay.
You could probably get them up probably into the millions of volts.
Nice.
And,
That's really cool.
and this is like a capacitor.
Yeah, basically, yeah, electrostatic capacitor.
Well, let's say how much like the peta thing that you need. How many of those do we need to hold a peta?
Well,
You know?
you know what? I would probably start with at least 5 layers thick. It actually will get very thick. So, what Eric Dollard calls this is an electrostatic condenser.
Electrostatic condenser.
Yeah,
Cool. I'll check it out. Thanks.
because originally back in the early days, the word capacitor didn't exist. It was known as a condenser, right?
Okay.
So even like Wilhelm Reich, when he was building his orgone generators and accumulators, that's exactly what he was doing. He was making an electrostatic condenser without the outside plate. It only had the inner plate.
Okay.
So, but what you want to make, you want to have plates on the front and the back,
Okay.
but several layers thick. So your condenser might actually get quite thick. But
But I don't need to replicate 10 petaamps, obviously, but what I need to do is replicate something dense enough that can be scaled up to 10
yeah,
petaamps, you know?
exactly. So, say you had a condenser that's like over an inch thick, you could probably hit it with 4 million electron volts and it would hold it. It will
Okay.
hold it.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. But no amperage. It's just electrostatic potential. You could go into the millions of volts and it would probably hold it. So I think
Wow.
that's the direction you want to go. I think that's where the phenomena is going to be, where you want to play with.
Okay. And
Can,
cool, I'll check it out.
can you like you said they'll hold charge, right?
Yeah.
Could you fill them up, and then add them all at one time to create that?
Yeah, it'll make the hair on, you'll probably make the hair on your head stand up. It'll
Well,
create
the whole
such a big
idea is
field.
like enough to create a force field, but it has to be done like it has to discharge
Sure.
all at once.
Well, you want to build up the charge. The thing is, you don't need current. From what Philip is saying, it's electrostatic or charge. High voltages give you the coulombs, right? Am I correct on that, Philip?
Well, the Coulomb is yeah, the electrostatic charge. I need to make calculations for the capacitance of the capacitor you're talking about to get the number of charges.
Yeah.
But the amps has nothing to do in that case because
Yeah. It's
there's
all
no
it's all voltage.
it's all voltage. It's a difference in potential, and
potential difference. Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. So if I were you, know what I'd be building right now? I'd be building a Van de Graaff generator. That's what I'd be building right now, or
Yeah.
order one for like $300-400,
Okay.
and then start making your capacitors, and it won't cost you that much money. Tin foil, a little bit of tar, paraffin wax, and just start layering it like a sandwich. Just keep layering them, and then get the Van de Graaff generator right beside it and let it charge up that capacitor. And then you can probably detect just by your hand if it's holding that charge on the plate or on the sandwich, right?
Okay. Yeah, cool. I'll ask you a lot of questions about it during the week, next week for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. You can buy a decent one, Van de Graaff generator. I've seen them for like $300-400 on Amazon. Like you don't really have to break the wallet too bad.
oh yeah,
And
cool.
they'll give you 300-400,000 volts.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they'll make a spark jump 4 or 5 inches.
Oh yeah.
It takes what is it 1200 volts, or sorry, geez, I got a brain fart here. I think it's 12,000 volts for every inch. I have to double check that. My brain's not working. My allergies are just killing me. Yeah, it's like 12,000 volts per inch. So if
Yeah,
it's throwing, so if it's throwing a spark 5, 6, 8 inches long, that's a lot of voltage there. No amperage, but a lot of potential.
yeah, cool. Um, I'll make the calculation. I'll let you know, and that's very interesting. Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
And I just want to add that all the calculations of the force fields are in my paper. You can access through Patreon or my
mm,
website
yep,
section.
yeah, yeah. Post your Patreon and your YouTube link. Put that in the live chat for everybody because I see some newcomers here, and
Yeah,
if they want
right
to
here.
follow you or support you. I got a few new members this week, so thanks a lot to my new members for joining. Really helps out. Um, I'll be working on my solar project this week,
My
which
computer
is
is kind of slow right now, but um, yeah, there's too many things open.
where's your C superset?
Yeah. Yeah, but you can see the graph here. The all the calculations are there, and here's the graph of the force field for 500 petacoulombs. I can slow down a projectile by down to 20%. So
So your
for
Van de Graaff,
1 meter distance.
so your Van de Graaff generator, by the looks of your figures, has to be the size of an apartment building.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'll just buy the whole building here.
Yeah.
So,
What are you building, Phil? Van de Graaff generator.
uh,
I need 4.5 million watts of freaking electrostatic potential. I'm gonna make the hair on your nuts stand up. Sorry, I went off the rails.
What do you think the radius of like generating that kind of power? What kind of radius do you need, like safe zone, like where like nobody could
Safe
enter and
zone? What safe zone?
like like 10 miles, 20 miles,
Oh God,
like
could you imagine that? Like 4 million electron volts going right through you. No, no current, but man, that would give you a snap like you wouldn't believe. That would hurt.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
uh, I
would
figured.
it like I don't know, I guess the energy that would go through your body, like it would generate so fast
And
that
make
you
all the
might wake
hair
up
on your
in a
body
different
stand up.
timeline, like you
Yeah.
might wake up in a different timeline.
Yeah, really. Then you get
Uh,
to create a spinning, rotating magnetic field in that. Yeah, there you go. Back to the future. Yeah,
What is it, the chronovisor? What is that like, right? They to
all the
yeah, the
all
chronovisor.
the chronovisor. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That'd be
yeah.
well. That I think the chronovisor was a little bit different. That was more like the looking glass, or what it was. What was the one made by the Vatican?
I
Supposedly,
think that's what it was. The
the
chronovisor.
chronovisor was it
Yeah,
the
Yeah, I think
chronovisor?
it
so.
was like a seat, and like there's like tubes, like metal tubes all around, and they just rotate at such a high speed that it creates this like plasma state where
Yeah,
something like that. I read a few years ago about it. Like, I'm not, I haven't updated myself on that, but yeah, it's something like that, and it's supposed to warp you into, whatever time you wish it to, something like
yeah.
that. You know.
I don't think time travel is going to be that controlled. That'll be a long way down the road before that happens. Unless they've done something behind closed doors that's totally, you know, magical.
I don't know, they have, but I think they deal with the weird, devil entities and stuff like that. And this is how, like, the Vatican and all the, like the dark, stuff. Not scientific. Scientific is the legit things. The other stuff is the I don't know. I don't know how to. But I think they play with dark magic, and that's how they get the stuff. It's not science. based.
It's
Yeah, it's just
witchcraft.
witchcraft based. Yes. Yeah.
I think I think there is a lot of good stories out there. You know what I mean? Like I'm starting to think like a lot of them are just stories. Like the Floyd Sweet thing. I was studying for a long time, and I pretty much came to the conclusion Floyd Sweet's VTA device was a hoax.
I don't know what that one is.
Yeah, I talked about it a couple weeks ago.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think the Floyd Sweet device was a complete hoax. You know why? I'll tell you why. When he had the generator running, Bendini said he smelled ozone in the room. Okay? The only way you could create ozone is either by an electrostatic or electro discharge, like a spark gap.
That's not always true. My
Hold
rodent
on.
coil can produce it at very low voltages.
But you're getting that effect with it without
Yeah. Michelle got enormous amounts of ozone with like 80 volts.
80 volts and no spark gap.
No spark gap. Something to do with the geometry of the coil. So there might be something else going on there. There's some kind of mechanism that we're not
Well,
aware
if
of.
anything, what he had was some form of, I guess you could call it a solid state electric.
What I do agree with is he left something, how to condition the magnet or whatever he had.
Yeah,
He left the secret sauce out of his public information.
see, the
out of
other
his
thing too
patents.
is if he ever gave the device to Bearden or Bedini, they always witnessed he actually shorted out the box before he gave it to them. So that would make me think that it is an electric because it's like you're holding an electrostatic charge and you're grounding out that charge that's built into the box already. So if it is anything, if there's any credence to the whole device's it has to have an electric type properties.
So let's assume that it is a hoax. What do you think that it is possible at all to do what he did with such a small amount of input power and an enormous amount of output like that?
You know what? All I got to say is he was a protege of Daniel Crone. And Daniel Crone was a magnetics expert for GE. He was like at, a very, very high level of understanding of magnetics and electrostatics and all this stuff. And Floyd Sweet worked under him. So it's possible, but the thing is, he kept everything so secret. When Bendini was working with him and Bearden was working with him, when he talked with Bearden, he told him this, and then when he talked to he talked to Bendini, he gave him a different story. Like
So he's probably lying.
So yeah, he was never straight up. Yeah, he was stirring.
Hey,
up,
Nathan.
Hey, Nathan.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Nathan.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Well, welcome back.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome back.
We're just talking about Floyd Sweet's VTA, if it was a hoax or not.
Yeah, by the way, everybody just confirmed your experiment about electricity induced by the magnetic field in the earth. That's so you got that one ahead, man. So hats off.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Nathan, they're stealing your ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody. My gosh.
That's what happens when you open source it out to everybody, huh? Everybody gets a little piece.
I was kind of proud that I was the first guy to break the story about the pyramids, because right after we did that show that night, about 4 other shows popped up and they're saying, "Oh yeah, they just found structures under the pyramids." I was ahead of everybody. I was like, I beat CNN.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna scoot up for a quick smoke. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, we did that show with Liz, and she talked about the pyramids and everything under it. She knew it before everybody else, man. She had the scoop on it. So
So it's like giant coils underneath the pyramids to channel energy. That's pretty cool.
What it looks like.
Well, the most recent thing I heard was it's like it's as big as a city down there. They're all connected. It's there's a whole world that's like connected to the other pyramids underneath. So it's just a matter of time before they start scanning and show us really how it looks like.
Yeah, they're gonna have to. It's kind of a world that got buried or something like that. They're gonna have to unbury all the sand and everything.
I bet you they're already under it right now.
You think?
And they just don't say anything.
Oh, can you imagine what they're finding? Like, could you my gosh, like things that if it would come to the real world, like the whole world will start to make sense. Like, oh, okay, that's why, something like that.
There was a video I sent to Phil. If you guys want to check it out, it's like a quick minute long. It's like a AI rendering of what it could look like down there. It was really neat.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very cool.
It's a top secret video. You cannot share it.
Oh, man.
Hey, is a Simple Man 911 is trolling again, but Simple Man doesn't understand why I'm doing the maths. It's because I'm doing the boring stuff that nobody else want to do, so I can discover new things.
Yes, the
That's
groundwork. He's laying the groundwork.
Nice.
yeah, very simple. So if he doesn't like it, then that that's what empty goal net. So that's what basically is gonna pull you ahead of other people. That's what you need to understand, Simple Man.
He's wanting to see a device. I'll show him my middle finger.
Ben's gonna crank it up first. I don't know how this device works. Oh, you guys are so bad.
Oh man. Mike is gonna come back. His channel is gonna be shadow banned. He's not gonna know why.
He even posted in the chat. He's still laughing already. Hey, what did you expect, man? I come on here. We gotta laugh a little, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I saw your plasma stuff on yesterday. That's that's pretty cool. Can you explain it?
Dude, that was like I did a lot of this about a year ago.
Yeah.
And I keep getting people on my channel that just showed up and they don't understand that I know high voltage better than probably anyone and how to make it do whatever you want it to make plasma, make bridges, to make angles out of it. You know what I mean? Make rotational plasma, all kinds of stuff. And I just wanted to get it out there so they could see it again.
Yeah. Are you able to do highly compressed, highly dense electrostatic charges like Mike was explaining earlier?
Highly compressed electrostatic charges? Yes.
Yeah, cool. When
If I had a compression chamber, man, it would be on. Because then we could really do some radiant energy on the outside, and that can really compress the living daylights out of it in there.
Oh yeah, cool. That's interesting. Because I need to get to my 10 peta, 500. I increase it to 500 peta coulombs. So I can use electrostatic charges. I figured. I don't need current necessarily, but I just need like a very high charge like that. So again, I'm gonna make calculation And Plus Simple Man again, 911 again, I guess.
Well, I wouldn't get too hard on him, man. He's a good guy. You know, what you need to look into is like how radiation holds in static electricity. And that's going to be the field that you want to push, because you think of it as your device, it's not DC once it sparks, right? So once it's in the air, it's now an open system. So when you're turning the energy on, it's continuing to fill a bubble. So it's going to keep filling and filling and filling. It's not going back to the loop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It becomes a discharge system. So then how much charge can you pack in there before it breaks off?
Yeah,
Now,
exactly.
yeah, now you have a plasmoid state. Now you know that radiation or a radiant field from a Tesla coil can hold that energy in. Now you got something. Now you can really put the calculations on it there, because now not only are you building the plasmoid, but you're breaking it from the regular gravity around you. So now it's a separation as well. And then everything with frequency has resonance. So now you're in that sweet spot of really creating something big in a locality instead of the whole area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just need it in a small, dense field.
Yeah. So I just need to replicate it at a small scale.
Mm-hmm.
And then depending on the density, I'm gonna say if I'm able to replicate it at a small scale, then I'll be able to extend it. I'm not gonna extend it here, but if I can get it dense enough, then it's gonna be good enough at a small scale. That's all I need to do.
Well, we could probably. They did a plasma experiment a while back where they took a ball jar and they sucked the air out of it, right? And then you put the plasma in there and it grows inside of an environment with no air, right?
Yeah.
But now can take another field and condense it while it's in there and just let a little bit of air in there so that it has enough for friction. Then we might be able to create it in a jar.
Yeah, interesting. The other thing I'm figuring also is, like I was saying, since last week, or I made mistakes 2 weeks ago, but last week I corrected myself. We are in a very dense ambient energy density. There's 1.2 times 10 to the 44 joules per meter we are in. So that's like 1 times 10 to the 20 kilograms per meter. So we are in a very dense energy environment. We
You're
need
saying
to
in the Earth?
No, in the atmosphere, in the void, in the solar system.
Okay.
There's a lot of energy, so we need to harness that. And other than creating a true void to create the potential difference, I don't know how we could harness that, but I know it's possible. We are in it, and but yeah, other than creating a true void, I think it's possible to create a true void by canceling energy. So if you cancel, because there's always energy and negative energy. If you cancel the energy with the same amount of negative energy, it's going to create a net zero energy density. That's going to create a void or a potential. And
So why don't you just coerce the energy to flow through what you want instead of trying to, harness or anything? Just let it flow through it and then put your pickups where it flows. That's the whole idea of like a geometry coil or a rodent coil, is the flow comes right through the center. So you harness out of the center of it. You know what I mean? All you're doing is giving it the environment to pull the energy in, which would be easy to do here because I've already done it. And then we could take it out to space and do the same thing. So as long as there's energy to be pulled in, all we got to do is find out how that energy flows and pull it in.
Yeah, but how can you channel the energy? That's
We do it with temperature differentials right now. You could do it in your room with just the temperature change has to be there.
yeah, the temperature. Okay, but suppose we're in a void. We are between the moon and the earth. Let's say we are on the moon. There's no air. Um, a temperature difference, a potential is gonna create energy flow, but in void where there's no air, how could we
So
channel that?
if you create a hot field, the cold air or coldness of space will pull directly into it every time.
Oh yeah,
It's literally pulling in the energy around it into it
okay,
because you're creating a hot zone. And then
okay, yeah,
it's like when it's a cold day outside in Canada, and then your room's hot and you open the window and then all that cold air pulls in. You just created the flow.
So
You know what I mean?
we
So
suck in
put in
all the energy,
Potential
Mike.
difference. Yeah.
There you go. So instead of air, it's space. You just have to change the way you pull it on in the environment.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can do it in several ways. You can do electrostatically, electrically, and also thermoelectric.
Mhm.
It's a potential difference.
Thermoelectric. There you go.
And even solar panels use a potential difference to take the photon and create it into electrical charge. I've been actually studying solar.
And they work in space.
Yep, and they can work in any environment. In deep space, it's absolute zero minus 270 C. Yeah, so yeah, it's totally possible in several different ways.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I think that's what we got to look at instead of trying to create a giant amount of force. Let's just use what's there and pull it in.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
what's that called?
Like
Photovoltaic or something like that? Where you're
In
converting the light into actual electricity. The solar panel,
yeah,
in the solar panel, yeah, it's more like you're taking the radiation and converting it. Is what it
Right.
feels more like. Yeah.
Mm.
But
So-
yeah,
so-
Phil, that's the way to do it right there. Is you want to harness
Yeah.
the energy just by
Yeah.
creating a system that allows it to pull in the energy and then store
Yeah.
it.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's what I was telling him, making those electrostatic plates that Townsend Brown was working on, using paraffin wax, tin foil, tar, and just doing layers.
Mhm.
And you put like a couple 100,000 volts and putting it into these capacitor plates or
Yeah, because he basically made like a big electric, didn't he? Like
that's right.
Yeah, that's what he was doing in the plate.
Yeah.
That's so funny. So hold on. Let's just go to that. So his machine, right? He has basically a Tesla coil in the center, and then his plates are putting out static electricity. He's literally making a plasmoid in order to create the field. In order to do it, I mean, you can see it clear as day. He used the radiant energy of the Tesla coil to hold in the static electricity of the plates. I mean, it's what he did. And that's what I keep trying to tell everybody. That's the exact way you want to make a field bubble.
Yeah. And even Don Smith was working on the same principles as well.
Same thing. Don Smith is all about resonance.
Yeah.
It is literally quarter, half, waves, and they're all resonant to one another, which creates a energy inside of it.
Yeah.
Dude, his work is awesome, bro. I did a Tesla coil inside of a Tesla coil and two other like pipes.
Yeah.
Man, that thing, if you tune it just right, bro, it puts out a ton of energy.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot. It's wild.
Yeah. There's one video I want to show. I talked a while ago about the Norman Wootan's MRA device, and I actually did this device I want you to watch the video because I had one guy here talking about over unity, and I made
Oh yeah,
this
bring it up.
device. Yeah, it's really cool. You got to see it. Just bear with me for a second.
Oh, dude, it the guy put Victor Gorbenikoff in the chat. I have the book on my channel, and it's an AI voice reading it. If you've never heard anything about it, you got to do it for the resonant cavities alone. It's amazing understanding of it.
All right, I got the video here.
Go
Let's
for it.
just watch this.
Hey YouTube, this is a quick video on an MRA circuit. This is invented by Norman Wooten and some others from the 90s, and my version of it, just trying to pick up the information that's out there on Rex Research and such. What we're doing here is an AC circuit from a function generator, and it's going through a piezo in series with a coil on a ferrite core, or it could be a magnetic core. In their documents, they were using a barium ferrite magnet. I'm just using ferrite. This is a 1-to-1 transformer. It's running across a 1 ohm resistor to measure current in. And then on the output, there's a small bridge here with some really fast diodes, and that's running across a 120 ohm resistor. And so I'm going to measure the voltage in and out, and you'll see that according to these measurements, there's much more power on the secondary side than on the primary. So that's the output resistor. Actually, it's 126 it's reading. I'll go ahead and turn the circuit on. You can see it's running about 2.12 volts. I'll show you that on the scope. Right now I'm running around 64,000 hertz. And here's the ferrite core, here's the piezo, and here's the input 1 ohm resistor right here, you can see. And then here, you can see the RMS voltage is about 21 millivolts. That would be on the input side. And then on the output side, this is showing about 2 volts average. The digital multimeter is showing 2.1, but they're close anyhow. So again, green line be the output, and yellow line be the input. And then if you do quick numbers on it, with your input at 22 millivolts across the 1 ohm resistor, you'll come up with about a half of a milliwatt. This is just using P is equal to IV and using Ohm's law. Then on the output side, you saw the 2.1 volts. It says RMS, I meant average there. The RMS value is higher. And across 120 ohm resistor using the same P equals IV and Ohm's law, you come up with 36 milliwatts, which is like 76 times the input. So really interesting results. Too good to be true. I figure I'm measuring something wrong, but just thought I'd share it. Thanks for watching.
Okay, and there you have it. So 76 over unity COP. So anybody who tells me over unity is impossible, bullshit. And Norman Wooten, when he made this device, the patent office seized it in 1994. I know Norman. I've spoken with Norman, and yes, and he even coached me when I was building his device. So I know it's work. I know it works. I know it's real. Over Unity's real. And if you can't handle that, too bad.
But over Unity, we are already in a. The void is not null. You know, there's plenty of energy around us already. We need to harness.
That's right. That's right. The energy's already there. It's
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
You just have to know how to bring it in
Exactly.
without having to pull or use voltage to bring it in. If you
Yeah.
know how to create potential difference without having to use very little power, that's where you get your over unity.
Yep.
There's many ways to skin a cat here. That's just one of many.
Yeah, and we are three here with different approaches, and we all have the same conclusion, and I so yeah, man, we're four, sorry, or six, sorry, the six of us with Ben with what else is going on? I forgot his name. Damn it.
Damn it,
With Bernie? What are you talking about?
Bernie. Yeah, Bernie.
Bernie's.
Sorry, my brain is kind of slow because I had a decaf coffee, not a real coffee.
Oh, yeah, Gerald got you for sleeping over there again. Taking a nap.
I was not sleeping. I was watching the game on my cell.
I am here in the background. Sorry, I will be participating in a couple minutes. Just going out for a cigarette and setting things up.
Thank you, Dead End Channel, for the $5 super chat. Really appreciate it. Helps out a lot.
Yep. Thanks.
Yeah, so-
I just want to make a shout out to my new subscribers this past week. Thank you very much for your donations as well as becoming members. Please visit all our panels, YouTube channels, Nathan and Philip's Finite Theory, my channel, Faraday Research, Benefactor TV, right?
Beneficence TV, yeah.
Yeah.
AKA the X Factor.
The X Factor. Little T.
Little T. Ah, never lived that one down. That was so great.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, brother?
Eddie the Fool.
A fool make me them coils.
Oh, my favorite still Phil flipping off the camera.
Yeah. Hey,
that was the best.
Please post that. Please. Just,
Phil, I sent you an email. I made you a new image.
Oh man,
your understanding.
Gerald, I sent you a link. Join in.
now what the guy should have done in that in his coil was split it in half on the receiving end and pull two out instead of one, because once you saturate the coil and the frequencies in there, you could pull two lines off it, like Tim Tron was trying to tell us with his bit.
Right.
Now you do it in halfways, and you're still getting the same amount of energy because it still resonates as it thinks that both of them are together.
Yeah.
So it doesn't see that you're pulling one into a cap bank while you're routing the other one back.
Yeah. Well, see, Tim and Norman, they talk. So.
Yeah. Dude, Tim Tron is smart, man. That whole conversation blew me away.
Oh yeah, he's there. Yeah, these guys are pretty elite. Yeah, so yeah, that channel is very good for listening to guys who've been doing this like their entire life, and a lot of them are in their early 60s and 70s. So these guys know what they're talking
got
about.
that experience. They built it all and tested it, just like
That's
Michael
right.
Mason, and still doing that.
It looks like Alberta, Canada.
Well, absolutely. Like,
Been
all
just
that cool.
snowing the past couple of days. Just oh my goodness! So it
Wow.
snows and then it gets up to like plus like 10 the next day, and then it like freezes and then snows again. And oh my
Yeah,
ridiculousness!
Ontario went through a roller coaster ride in the last 24 hours, 48 hours.
You guys are creating an energy potential that you're draining all the energy is going in Alberta right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Man, and I was worried about rain last night in California, and you guys got snow like that.
Well, and Ontario got freezing rain where all the power lines got taken out, or something like 100,000 people without power.
Barrie,
Wow.
Ontario. Yeah.
So what's up? Ford wants to cut the energy from the United States, but he cut himself, I guess.
Sounds like the classic Ford family way.
Yep. My
Good old
cousin's
Canadian politics. Sorry, we got to put you through it there, Nathan and Ben. But I guess we get a lot of your American stuff too. For those that don't know, there's the Fords. Ford currently the Premier of Ontario, and his brother, who tragically deceased, was a very controversial individual that used to be the mayor of Toronto, I believe, was it?
Yep. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Rob Ford. He died of cancer. Hit him pretty fast, and he was gone in about 3-4 months. He died. My cousins both went to school with the Ford guys, and needless to say, they were pretty.
Question: did he smoke crack in high school too?
Yes, and
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
yes,
You heard it here first.
yes, and his brother liked to sell the stuff too. So I'll leave it there.
And now he's premier. Oh dear. And
Yeah.
all our channels and Mike just got all us Canadians arrested.
Yeah. Yeah, well, hey, they got to start somewhere. They started selling right in high school, so
They can start by arresting themselves, I guess, eh?
exactly. Yeah.
Let's help the country, so I'm gonna arrest myself.
So there's Ford, the premier crack dealer of Ontario, and there's Mark Carney, the alleged Epstein Island visitor.
Oh, and I might add, he's also a part of the WEF, so that says it right there.
Right?
Yeah,
like a board member, like or
Yes,
something
yes.
crazy. Like
And
he's way up.
Also, Justin Trudeau is a board member of the WEF, so
they don't even hide anymore, man.
No,
They
they
show
don't.
up publicly.
yeah, they don't hide it. Yeah.
So I was talking with my dad last night about this. About I will never forget Justin Trudeau, like his campaign promises, how like he actually his body language actually seemed like he genuinely was like passionate about it. And then all of a sudden on his third day of being prime minister, he just had his magically out of nowhere his first foreign trip as prime minister. And where did he go? The island of Malta. Why would our prime minister be going to the small little tiny island of Malta? But then you look into it, there's the Knights of Malta, which is, I believe, a degree of Freemasonry, and they're also above the Swiss Guard in Rome and the Roman Catholic Church, and that Malta as well, famous for the elongated skull folk. And there's whistleblowers like Karen Hughes, the former World Bank director, who quit to publicly state that she experienced these elongated skull beings still living and ruling under the Vatican as well as Malta, and that she shortly there died of mysterious fast cancer after publishing this, and like that she went from being the director of the World Bank to completely ostracized, cut off of everything. And it's like, why would someone do that? And like, what's their motive unless it was just trying to get the truth out? And was that what caused Trudeau to be like, okay, Canada's out of the war in Iraq, we're out of the F-35 program, we're plotting our own course to I'm going to Malta, to coming back being completely shook and looking like he hasn't had life, love, or any passion in him since then.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, it's a lot of stories coming out, and like Philip was saying, they're not even hiding it anymore.
Right, like Argentina publishing their Nazi files stating Adolf Hitler lived there to his 70s and that he had 2 daughters who then had children. So there's literally living Hitlers in Argentina to this day.
Yeah, I heard about that too. Nazis.
Yeah, I think he fled there, but from what I heard, he died in 1967. So
Yeah, and apparently these papers say he died when he was 70 years of age or something.
yeah, he was almost pushing 80. Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, I remember like 15 and 12 years ago when the first sunset clause and the FBI.gov published their papers saying that they were tracking Adolf in Argentina. And now apparently their president spoke to Trump and was like told to declassify these, and or at least they discussed it and he got his blessing or something like that. And it's very interesting how much is coming out, but simultaneously how much the powers that be are no longer hiding and are just blatantly with it. And it's like, is it all kabuki theater, or are they actually at war with themselves and they're going to be some real change?
Interesting. All right, let's get back into the science.
Back to science. How about that free energy generator from the dude in Princeton or something out of the UK, where it gets free energy from the Earth's magnetic field? And have you guys heard of that, or did you cover that?
Which one? The one about the getting energy from the Earth's rotation?
Yeah, the Earth's rotation of its magnetic field, and that the key to it was a design by Michael Faraday.
Yeah, like what Nathan was saying, like proactively showing us as well with his mud experiment and all that stuff.
Right? Nathan, we need more of that.
Yeah.
Electric mud.
Well, have you done some where you added salt into the mud water?
Oh, dude, there's no salt in that mud water, by the way. All it is minerals.
You should try one. Can you try one where you have it like the current way of just like the mud water, and then a identical one but add salt to it, and then see the difference of the reactions?
I could do it.
That'd be sweet, because then we can compare the energy that's coming out of like a freshwater lake or river compared to the ocean, and guaranteed it's exponentially more from the ocean.
Well, one thing is heat when you put hot water in versus cold water. So if the mud's hot, then it produces more energy.
Ooh, right. So the sun where it's shallow.
Yeah.
But then how about the beaches to the ocean where they get heated by the sun and it's mostly quartz grains of sand, right?
There you go. So yeah, mostly what I have out there is sand and DG is what's in there, and then some mud. Mud combine it is what the minerals are in it. So yeah, you have all of that in there already, and then you just add heated water when you mix it, and the energy pushes a foot further.
Wake up, Phil. You need a Red Bull.
Yeah, I need Gerald to wake me up, to slap me behind the head.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Gerald's right. It amplifies the current and the energy.
Yeah.
It's not really well known, but it's there. It's like when you take your Tesla coil and you put the piece of wood down it, you can amplify the current coming from the Tesla coil itself, and you can bring down the frequency and bring up the current and push this field way out. There's little tricks to it. So like if you put sand in the middle and you make sure it doesn't have any water in it, and you use dry sand, it acts as a heater in your room along with the energy. So you get the energy and the heater in there. So you made a sand heater, and you can do it under 10 volts. And it's way better than any space heater you'll ever get. And the field, by the way, it'll get uncomfortable in your room because everything touches is RF hot. So it'll push out 8 feet, 10 feet, no problem, instead of the 5, 6 feet you normally get. And that you can do that with a Slayer exciter circuit.
How much?
I'm wondering if you have a sphere. Is it some sort of sphere, metallic sphere or something, and you create a resonance if it's gonna and it's gonna resonate the void, the vacuum energy I was talking about earlier, to a point where it's gonna amplify itself, and create something that we can harness.
So if you create a sphere inside of a sphere and you resonate both to each other, you're creating the thunderstorm generator, and you'll start creating plasmoids in the center.
Oh wow!
That's what it does. It's field compression. It literally is ringing both of them at the same time and then compressing both of them at the same time in order to take the static it generates on the inside and compress it with the field. So it'll create a plasmoid on the inside. That's what it does.
Interesting. Wow. Okay, I've got a lot of experiments to do.
Oh yeah, dude, I've been working for all night to get my stuff set up. Dude, I got cat banks going. I have a cold energy circuit that I'm going to use on my rodent coil. So I'm all set up for that. I just made a coil winder. So I'm going to wind coils in resonance. So I took my coil I mainly use. And what I did was I broke it down in radio frequency and find out where the resonance point is. So I found the ring, which is also the harmonic scale of it. So now I'm going to build each coil specific to that so I can ring each one in harmonics and listen to it just sing to me all day. So, dude, I got some wild stuff going on, man. Like I said, I've been 3D printing like crazy. I had to shut them off before the live tonight. And, dude, it's been a wild ride. So I'll have all kinds of different experiments coming out again. But, I'm going to do the rodent coil ones. I also have a couple geometry coils that need to be tested. I made a 3D print, and I'll show you these right here, these little sticks that go in there instead of nails. So now when I do my 3D prints, I can put them in there and sandwich them with nylon bolts so that they don't go anywhere, so I can get the compression on the outside without losing the tension on the inside. So it's a different way to go, man. And I built several of them already, man. It's pretty cool. So,
Nice.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of work lately. And then I worked on my gravity flyer again, man. I've been doing all kinds of stuff with that. So, yeah, it's coming along, man. I had to change in my gravity well device. I had to change the couplers because they were pulling energy to the motor because the motor acts as a draw for the system. So it was ruining the energy in the center, so I had to switch it. So now that I did, it comes out in a little ball that goes in below and rotates just fine. So now it's taking that radiant field you get from the center of Tesla coil because it goes straight through it, and it pulls out the field like this. Now I just got to put the static on the actual balls themselves, man, and then we're literally building plasmoid fields all throughout this thing. So I got a bunch of things in the running, but I told myself I'm not doing experiment after experiment. I'm going to do one video for all of it and then do like the Plasma channel did and just get it all out at once.
Do at least a little short per video, or I guess cover them all in one big one and then just edit them down into small little individuals.
No. I'm going to do 45 minutes in a video, man, and give it all to you at once. And then I'll do for the members, I'll break it all down in pieces if they want it to. But I figure the way my channel's going, in order to grow it a little more, man, I have to do it, one big thing at a time from start to finish in order to get it right. And then just do the lives to promote it and the little shorts to maybe give me a promotion to it. But that's kind of where I'm at, man. I'm closing in on 8,000 subscribers right now. So I'm getting up there.
Must be nice. Me there. I've been capped 9,500 for almost 3 years now. It's like they let me get up to 9,540 about a month ago, and now I'm back down to 5,490. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, I'm picking up 395 subscribers every month.
That's sweet.
And then I just started streaming to X. So
Oh yeah, X is good for sure.
yeah, I'm getting people pulling over from that too. So yeah, I'm working on it. Dude, I drove myself crazy on my channel about last week. And I was so frustrated. How do I get this thing out? Why is it stopping at this? I had to change some settings in there in order to get everything to go. I worked on my Patreon to get it up to speed and give it extra content. And dude, it's been just grinding and grinding.
It takes so much work. People don't understand the commitments of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be right back in 1 minute.
Yeah. But one thing that is kind of weird also, like I was saying last week, the ambient energy that we're in is immense. But if we go at lower scale, at the atomic scale, I need to use a different energy density. It's like if the gravitational waves at the macro scale are ineffective at the nano scale. So it's like the energy density is kind of void. I mean, I think it's a wavelength thing. Maybe it's. I'm trying to picture it, but I don't know what it is. But I know the energy at a certain wavelength is not going to be effective at nanoscales. So it's probably, I don't know, man. I'm trying to picture that out. But there's something there, something to look into. And it's hard to explain like that without showing some calculations. But anyway,
You need
one
it
day,
to work on the Planck scale, is what you're saying. And then it has to work on a bigger scale.
well,
Is that what you're looking at? Or is it macro, micro? What do you?
Yeah, let me show it to you. It's easier if I show what I'm talking about here. So the energy density we're in, the 1.2 times 10 to the 44 joules per meter. At the micro scale, that's what holds. That's what defines the perihelion precession, the light bending, and everything that we see in the solar system. We need that amount of energy density to observe all the phenomena we observe. But if we go at the nanoscale, at the atomic scale, and we look at the red curve here, I need to have a energy density that is much lower than 1.4, 1.2 times 10 to the 44 joules per meter. I need to use um, one times 10 1 times 10 to the minus 3 joules per meter. So I need to use a energy density that is much lower than the macro scale. So that means, but I get the exact same forces. I get the correct forces if I use that energy density, but it's like the energy density at the macro scale is ineffective at the nano scale. So I'm trying to figure why. But that's probably because the wavelength of the macro scale is ineffective at the nano scale. That's what I suspect. So,
So you can measure to 10 to the third joules per this, but when it becomes 10 to the 44, that becomes like the subatomic scale, right? And so the equation doesn't make sense because it doesn't follow the laws of certain physics.
yeah, I double checked all the mathematics, and I really need to use a very huge amount of energy at the macro scale, but at the nano scale, at the atomic level, I need to use a much lower energy density to get the correct observations. So, um, so my point is my point is the energy. The macro scale energy density is ineffective at the nanoscale, but why? But it's probably a wavelength thing. Probably energy of a high wavelength or ineffective at the nanoscale. Maybe that's. I'm trying to figure that out. I don't know why, but if any one of you knows or can figure it out, just let me know. But that's really weird because I'm trying to figure why how we could cancel energy to create a potential. So I know you said temperature earlier, but I'm trying to see if there are alternatives as well. Um, maybe I don't know, man. It's weird. If anybody in the chat knows, just let me know. It's you don't need mathematics to understand what I'm just saying.
I have a question. Like, but we have givens, and givens are like I'm looking at something, and the givens are like in a proton. Either they're up, like two are up, one is down. So there is something that is a control already. With just the components of a proton, right? So if we know that energy, that it becomes a programmable, because we know exactly what a proton is. We go deeper right here. It's like the quarks. The quarks
Yeah,
is just a bunch of variety, so it's going to be one of those, right?
yeah,
So it could still be somewhat on the smallest scale, computer wise, be programmed. I don't, but I don't know if it could be physically measured, like, and with a detector or anything like that. But if the mathematics are, we follow the mathematics route with this, we can just anticipate where it could be. And then if it really is measured and it's two different things, then we know for sure that it does not abide by any, like, physics, like our physics that we have reached. It has just its own laws. I mean, that's how.
yeah, um,
You
yeah.
need pressure and compression. You need to force it to compress. That's what it comes down to. It's like when you go to create radiation, you're forcing the energy into a compact unit in order for it to burst out with energy, right?
Yeah,
That's how you get it. It has to work on the Planck scale as well as the physical scale and
exactly.
everything else. So in order to do that, that's what you have to have. You have to have force compression.
Yeah. Um,
And
force compression. So how do you do that?
so like engineering like a heat pump essentially was a forced compression type. Was that one method?
Well, just layers in between a geometry coil is force compression. You're not giving it anywhere to go. You're pumping in the energy, but you're not giving it anywhere to go. So it has to stay there and continue to build. And it'll build in there and create a static field in between it. That's what the Rodin coil was doing with Michel's design and putting in that much voltage. He's literally creating static electricity out of it, which then will create your ionization of the air. You're forcing compression. That's really what it is. And it's taking a radiant field, which is a scalar field, which is in the center of it, and forcing the compression in the center of it so that it breaks out into a bigger field.
Yeah, and I remember also I was talking to Gerald about a spherical coil with a specific way on how to wrap the wires around the coil, but it could create a difference in energy pressure at the center of that spherical coil that you're gonna have a potential right there if you have a sufficient energy. But
Well, you can do it. Sean did a sphere Tesla coil, and it has compression in it, and it breaks out like the fields of the earth. In what he does, so he's able to flip the center field of it. So that right there causes a massive amount of compression the way he winds it, because he winds it like an AC flyback. So each layer individually has multiple winds on it, and then he builds the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. So it built like an AC transformer, right? But it's a Tesla coil. So then he resonates it, and it boom blows out the fields. As a matter of fact, I could probably send you a picture, Mike, of it, or present.
Or would you be able to share it, or not? It's private sort of thing.
No, dude, I shared it earlier today.
Yeah, you bring the picture up just right now, even if possible.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me
Amazing.
pull it up. There you go, right there. That's what Sean found, right? In his he calls it the Death Star Tesla coil.
okay,
And those are the field's compressions. It builds out just like the Earth.
but
So-
the wires are wrapped like following the
axis.
the longitudinal way of the sphere. Is that it? Like it's kind of the altitude of the Earth, like the
The blotch wall would be where the equator is.
Yeah, exactly.
That's your blotch wall. So, you're compressing this electrostatic field right to the blotch wall. It has nowhere else to go. That's where you get the mass compression of electrostatic potential. And that's where the field starts building up around it.
okay.
So when he does this, he gets static electricity and he gets the high voltage plasma just like a Tesla coil does. He's getting both.
2 in 1.
And as an AC transformer, you said, engineered into it. Amazing.
Oh, I could show you an operation if you want that.
Yeah, I think everyone
just-
would get something out of that.
This thing is wild, man. Let me see if it's this. I think this one's DC. Real quick, hold on. Yeah, this one right here. So let me go to it, pause it, and then.
Who think outside the box together for the crew to break the equations not bound to any rule, exposing to the world the universe is all you. Take the talent of the craftsman, it takes the mind of the fool to make the vision realize energy and matter in a duel. To a great, to a fool. The old man bills was running through his head. Cheryl probably got it hiding under his bed. Penny up to Annie making power for days. Don't listen to a word that the straight no says. Mike building batteries that power a ship. Victor comes and talking math, that's the water spiral dip. Sean chucking possible to mile long. Sheila.
Anyway, you could see the energy coming out of this thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, huge power.
Dude, he showed you the fields on it, and it's like, it's awesome, bro.
Nice.
You get a ton of field compression out of this thing.
No, now we're talking.
So you see all the wines in there.
Yeah. Okay.
That's so cool.
It's funny I asked you the question at the right time,
Yeah.
huh?
Synchronicities meant to be.
Yeah, Sean's building one of those for me and sending it to me, man. I
am jelly. I am very jelly, and it almost looks like a little nostalgia from Super Nintendo Super Bomberman, the video game, but it kind of looks like one of them old cartoon bombs with like, but a purple fuse to throw some plasma at you. Bam! A healing bomb.
Yeah, dude, it does look like that. But he's got other ones, man. He did the cone coils too. So he's got those. He's got a pyramid coil. He's got some wild designs, man. He did it with silver. So yeah, he's got some awesome stuff, man. He presents it every Wednesday. So
What I
he's
like to
got
try what I like to try to make is I've been playing with this graphene stuff. So I would like to print like a graphene coated. I guess I would 3D print the coil
Mhm.
and and airbrush the graphene on that print. So
Oh
I could
yes,
get
because
it.
then your
I could,
nano layer, your outside
yes,
nano layering is
exactly. You
graphene. That's
caught,
huge, Mike. You're bang
yeah,
on with that right
yeah.
there.
You caught onto that right away. That's good. So that would be a really good experiment to try. My graphene's about ready to go. I got my airbrush kit and just going to get my printer going again. And I'm going to do some testing with that hopefully this week.
I love it. So much work everyone has put in over the years, and it's all coming together now, and it's like reaching this like exponential like just understanding with everyone's own projects and then the implications of it in everyone else's, and it's like the generational like development. Yeah, like where there's 5G or internet, there was 4G, 3G. It's like communities getting into the 4G, and soon enough is going to have a fifth generation of everything, and that is when I believe portals and the plasma fields around will be
And what
open.
I'd like to make, Bernie, is 3D print a coil. All right. And then after it's done, I spray the graphene on that coil, let it dry, and then put a very thin layer of sodium silicate on it. So now it's isolated, and then print another coil directly over top of it. Okay. And do the same thing again. Spray the graphene on
Okay,
the print.
key parts of each of those layers is that when you're printing or spraying each layer, you're going to want to have a directional small charge going through it so that it sets that nanomaterial in the directional charge. And you're probably going to want them alternating which way, maybe some horizontal, some vertical, maybe just back and forth, depending on how the field interactions are between them. But that's a key part of having that directional charge while it solidifies on the nano layering.
Yeah, so basically what I'm trying to get to is creating a wire without a wire.
Oh no, you're doing a wire within a wire within a wire, but making it into a coil all at once.
But not using copper. There's going to be no copper in this. And I'm still going to create a field by using that nano layer of graphene. And if I put in like a piece of ferrite core in the middle, in theory, I should be able to create a field when I get a charge, because we all know power goes on the outside of the wire. It's not inside the wire. So if I'm using a very thin layer of graphene, that electrical charge is at a very, very thin, it's on the outside. There's nothing for it to actually penetrate. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't work the same way as
exponentially less resistance.
Exactly. And I would need a lot less power to do the same work. I hope.
You got you right there. It's in the mathematics, the equations of what you're building there. There's no doubt about it. That's excellent, Mike.
Yeah, just trying to create a wire without using a wire.
You want to do it in those plates we were talking about earlier, Mike?
Yeah.
in that UFO device we're talking about. What was the name of it again?
Oh, the Townsend Brown experiment.
Yes, Townsend Brown. So when you do that, create it in mesh layers.
Yeah.
Okay, mesh layers hold in static electricity so much better than anything else. So yeah, create that in mesh layers, and then you should be able to pull a charge on it. And then when it's still wet, push your layers together and then run the electricity to the plates, and just let it run so that you can get like an electric value out of it. And then pin them all the same way. I mean, just let the field go the way it's supposed to go and let it run. Dude, I bet you could pull a monster number out of there. Just make sure you put some stuff in there that's a high K value. Or what I like to say with those things, I use paper as a
separator.
It's non-conductive, but in static, it becomes semi-conductive. And it's already meshed. So as you put that in parts of your layers, you're able to build the static field.
Right. But wouldn't the paper break down? Because
the paper, well, you can use any mesh you want. You know what I mean? Just make sure it's meshed like that. That was the whole point of the paper. It would be a non-conductor that becomes a semiconductor in that field because of static.
Or dielectric or something.
Yeah.
Interesting. Got so many ideas going through my head right now.
I just quickly gotta hop outside for a cigarette and hop on Jeremy Reese's stream for 2 minutes, and then I will be back. And I've got a very nice video to play of the Earth's magnetic free energy device that I was talking about earlier. There, it's the actual inventor. He just did an interview with the Professor Simon channel, and they just released it a couple hours ago. So I think we should watch just a little bit of that if that's all right.
Yeah, I was gonna watch that. I didn't get a chance.
Well, we
Is
can
that
all
the
watch
English guy?
Scrutinize it and make it Free Energy Friday.
Yeah, the guy with the crazy hair.
Yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah. He's got the Einstein hair.
Einstein Jr.
Einstein Jr. Yeah.
It always looks like he's in that little bunker.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a cave he's in or something. It's really shape, eh?
Totally awesome.
Yeah, I think he's a pretty eccentric individual.
Yes. Well, he's English too, so it kind of like it jumps out at you when he talks. I love it.
And he's missing half his teeth and everything. Yeah, it's really cool.
He fits right in. Oh,
yeah,
that's right. Awesome.
Fits right in. I love eccentrics like that, you know.
A mad scientist.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
He's got some wild stories too. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, what I like about this 3D printing thing is now I have a means of making that print, conductive now. Any shape my printer can do. Now I have a means of making it actually conductive. And that just opens up a whole friggin' right? The graphene I'm making is awesome.
You just case it with the graphite.
I used to airbrush.
Like you dip
airbrush it on.
Take it out,
No, I airbrush it on. Make it into nano layer.
Okay.
I'm talking like under 5 nanometer. If I get it under 5 nanometer, holy cow. Like I can make my own pyramids. I can graphene a pyramid. Like I could just go crazy with that stuff. And it's not hard to make. That's the best part about it. All you need is a really good ultrasonic cleaner or the probe, and just hit it. And I found out actually a couple things about the mesh. I'm using a 600 mesh graphite. It only takes 2 hours to actually get it to what I want.
Really?
I thought it was going to take days.
Yeah, actually, that's good.
Yeah, it actually turned out. I did an experiment, and I was hitting it for about 3 days I had on it, and my resistance started to increase. So I'm going, what the heck's going on? So I actually dug into that, and it turns out because I'm using 600 mesh, it's at a very, very small particle already. It takes very little time to exfoliate that graphene to the point where it's totally usable. So instead of days, now it's just in a couple of hours. I can have perfect graphene.
Hmm.
So now, if I were to go to a 325 mesh, it would take a lot longer. So the graphite you use the say like I use a pencil lead, right? I drop that in there. That would take several days to break down because it's hard. It's it's a full piece. But if you're using fine powder like I'm using, it takes very little time. So
Yeah, can you see my screen?
hold on here. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to say earlier. Sorry, I got confused with longitude and latitudinal wires. I wanted to promote the latitudinal wiring of a sphere because there should you should have like a very dense magnetic field at the exact center of that sphere, which would create a very dense energy potential. Um, so that's sorry I confused longitudinal with latitudinal, but I want to say latitudinal earlier on.
Mm.
So yeah, that's I saw the sphere. Obviously, the sphere Nathan just showed is very effective, but I'm wondering if that one with latitudinal wiring would be more effective. So there's just a little thought here.
It's
Maybe,
interesting.
yeah. So that's because I saw your buddy had the longitudinal wiring, but I'm wondering if latitudinal ones would be. Well, it should be you will have a very dense energy at the exact center of that sphere, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So the temperature should be affected. Should get colder if there's more energy. So you could measure it with temperature. There's just an idea I had here.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm trying to think about how we would wind that. It's kind of a different shape altogether, like an apple or something, you know?
Yeah.
Hmm.
But if you're using latitudinal wiring, then the energy is going to be focused at the center of that sphere.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah.
You
I'll
could get
ask him about it, see if he has any designs. Go ahead, Lulu.
you could make a huge styrofoam ball and then wrap the thing and then burn the center and then you'll have the exoskeleton of the how you want it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you could 3D print it also, maybe, Mike. But I don't know. Can you 3D print spherical stuff like I just showed,
Yeah.
Mike?
Oh, sorry, I had my thing on pause, mute. What was that? Say that again.
Can you 3D print like spherical thing? The sphere I just showed using a
Yeah,
3D printer?
yeah. It'll take a little while to do. I'll have to put some support material in there to hold it
And,
up.
All right, guys, I'm falling asleep and I gotta get up early in the morning, so I'm gonna take off.
oh, so you took my spot now to fall asleep?
Yes, I did. I'm sorry. I'm falling asleep.
Right on, Ben. Have a great night, buddy.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks,
Good night.
Nathan, Mike,
Thanks.
Lulu, Phil, Bernie.
Cheers.
Good night, everybody in chat.
Yeah, I've been up since 4 a.m. myself. Kind of beat. I had the allergy attack and it was keeping me up, and then I had to put a full day of work in after that. But I'm doing it. Coffee. Good
So
coffee.
now, yeah.
There you go. I gotta get me some of that right now as soon as we're done.
Yeah,
Keep me
it's
going.
funny. I could have a coffee and go right to bed.
Yeah,
I think I'm insane.
no,
And
it happens.
they look at me like, how do you do that? And I go, you just close your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Some
a recliner in my garage, man. Sometimes it's coffee in the morning, back to the recliner to sleep.
All that coffee talk is making me hungry, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Coffee's weird. It wakes me up in the morning, and then I can have one late at night and just go right to bed. I don't know. Call me weird. I don't know.
What were you gonna say, Lulu?
I forgot.
Brain fart like I usually
Wait a
have.
minute. Oh yeah, you become immune to coffee. Like it doesn't work anymore. You know?
Yeah, that's right.
You drink the whole thing, and
Your tolerance level is too high.
That's when you shock your system and have a couple of Red Bulls back to back.
Oh, give me a heart attack is what you're gonna do.
Yeah. It's not good. Yeah, I've been drinking coffee for years, so it's just a way of life for me. I'm a real coffee connoisseur.
I could go through like 12 cans of Diet Coke in one day, and I could still put my head, like as if nothing.
How many cans?
I could. I didn't say I do. I said I could.
Oh,
yeah, I
wow.
could. But I do. Maybe like once the year might happen, but Yeah,
sugar is my downfall. It's like crack. It's so hard to kick sugar.
No, it's diet. I don't touch the.
Yeah, but diet stuff uses artificial sugar, which is even worse for cancer and stuff like that. So you're better off with real sugar, I think.
Yeah, I went back to real sugar after a while. I was using a Splenda, and then I switched back, and it's like, yeah, my doctor said, you gotta watch your sugar. You're gonna get to that place you don't want to go. I'm like, all right. So it's like really, really hard. It's like
they put soda cans in a barrel of water, and all the high fructose corn syrup sunk to the bottom, and all the rest of them floated to the top. All that artificial stuff, man, it's not good for
you.
Yeah, it is like crack. It is, yeah.
Reminds me, dude. That reminds me of the time Mike comes on my channel and he goes, "Look, I got this big bag of white stuff," and he's showing it like a full pound bag. He's like, "Look at this cool stuff I got." I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Can we say burn?
Oh, dude, that was hilarious.
Oh man, talk about a heat score.
He was doing stuff for his batteries, man, and showing it.
Oh yeah,
didn't look like it. Oh, it cracks me up, man.
Excuse me.
Oh,
good times. Oh man,
always an adventure.
I got stories for that. I could do all. Oh, I did get my light. I'm doing that solar project, so I actually got my LED lights in today. They're 6,000K. So
nice.
They're actually grow lights. So just regular LEDs won't do it. You have to get full spectrum. So you have to be between, I believe it's 6 and 930 nanometer IR. So basically grow lights. That's what you want to use for the experiment. But they have to be 6,000K, a high lumens. Higher the better. So I got the two 100-watt solar panels. I'm going to do that rig up tomorrow, put the lights in between the two, and see what I get out of it. And if I could put that into my Renegade circuit or even try an oscillator. I was even thinking maybe a Slayer's exciter circuit might work good too.
Hmm.
So I want to kind of like Lloyd Stovell, the guy that was doing this. He's taking a lot of flack over it, and everybody's calling bullshit, basically on his thing. Um, if it's running his house, and I don't think he would spend all that money on all that stuff if the system wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, what he's doing is working. So I want to try it out. Like that's what basically started my channel, many years ago. I saw something out there. I was skeptical, so I said, okay, I'm going to build it for myself and see if it works. And that was kind of the basis of my whole channel, prove or disprove kind of thing. So this is one of those experiments. I want to see if it's true or not. So
Very
I'm
good.
going to build one. And kind of, know in my mind that, if it's real or not. And if anybody challenges me, I'm just going to say, you know what, man, I've built it. I know what it does. That's it. It's end of argument. You could try to debunk me, whatever. I don't care. The fact is, what I do is I build it for myself to know it's real. I want to know if this is real. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I work. The same thing with like aliens. Okay, if I see an alien, I'm gonna believe it's there. If it's there, I can see it. I know it's there. It's real. Same thing
Absolutely.
with my experiments. So it kind of helps with the credibility, right? So yeah.
But yeah, because all you want is the answer. You don't care which way it is. You're going to do the experiment either way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
all.
non-bias, right?
Yeah.
If the proof is there, it's there.
Yeah.
Philip would like this one. Remember Jean Chrétien? Philip?
Which
Yeah,
one?
yeah,
Jean Chrétien, our prime minister back in the early 90s.
yeah.
He said he had an interview. He goes, what is the proof? Is the proof is proof if the proof is proven? I'm like, what? I'm like, what the hell did he just say? Like, the proof is the proof is the proof is proven. I'm like, because he was accused of something. I can't remember what it was. This going back like 20 plus years ago, right? So, yeah, I laughed so hard when he said that. Oh, they might even still have that clip on YouTube. You might even be able to find it. Jacques Chrétien was like, who could I compare him to? An American president? I'm trying to think. No, not Donald Trump. I wouldn't say Trump. Oh, Bush. Bush Jr. He's our Bush Jr.
Yeah.
Oh my
Look
God.
at that. I'll show my screen. It's in French, but it's so funny that it's. There was a group called Sans Limite. They used to tease Jean Chrétien all the time.
Yeah. Oh, Jacques Chrétien was great.
No, but you cannot hear my video, I guess.
No, can't hear
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, but I don't have speakers. I need to use my headphones. So, but it's so funny. It's like they used to tease Chrétien all the time.
Yeah.
And, yeah, there was a. Well, I gotta show you this. It's so hilarious. One sec. It's so it's let me yeah, c'est ça.
Is this Chrétien again or?
Yeah, but I'll just show you the screen.
Okay. Oh, he was great.
Can you see that?
Yeah. I can't hear it.
Man, was that guy the prime minister?
Yeah, he was the prime minister. Yeah, back in
Wow.
early 90s. He was awesome. He was just totally off the rails.
Yeah, but he was getting teased all the time, and
Oh yeah.
uh,
Oh yeah.
and what I just showed you, like a, you know these shows where you gotta guess some word, and he's just guessing, like so he's just guessing sans dessin, which means I'm an idiot, and he's just guessing that the 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 right word, that he's an idiot at the show, so it's kind of funny, but they were teasing him all the time.
Oh yeah, like on a couple of the comedy networks in Canada back in those days, they were just having a field day with him. Oh my god.
Yeah,
It was great stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, he was our Bush.
Wow, it reminds me of Monty Python.
Yeah, Monty Python.
Yeah, it's what it looked like when you were showing the movie.
Either that or Benny Hill.
Oh yeah, Benny Hill.
Benny Hill.
Well, Benny Hill usually had some woman he was running after, didn't he? The whole time.
Yeah, all the time. And then the old bald guy that he was on there would be slapping his head.
Yeah.
Mr. Bean.
Oh, Mr. Bean. Yeah.
Yeah, he's too busy crashing exotic cars. You heard about Mr. Bean, eh? He's got a lead foot. He speeds like ridiculous with his cars.
Oh, really?
Oh, he's written off McLaren F1s and $1 million cars. He just smashes them.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like because he can't drive, he doesn't know how to drive, or
No, he's a psychopath behind the wheel.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he's nuts.
So he's intentionally crashing.
I don't think he's intentionally crashing. I think he just drives really, really fast and doesn't care.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got a lead foot, that guy. Yeah, he's got a reputation.
I like Don Knotts when he did the Apple Dumpling Gang.
Yeah.
Dude, that was so funny. Or even oh my god, Dwarf on Golf. Have you guys ever seen that?
I remember that. Yeah, that's Dwarf on Golf. Where did I hear that before?
Dude, he would okay, so he put his legs in the ground so it looked like he was short, right?
Okay.
So he would show him swinging the club, and it'd be normal, and then they go, let's watch that back in slow motion. So then bees would start flying around. He starts to hit the bees, and you know what I mean, everything. And the caddy would always screw stuff up and electrocute him. Dude, it was one of the best skits ever.
Yep. Now I remember what you're talking about. Caddyshack comes to mind. Oh my god.
Oh, Caddyshack was funny. The first one, yeah.
Yeah, the first one, yeah.
That was Rodney Dangerfield.
I seen him live, eh?
Did you really?
Yeah, I saw him in 1989 at the O'Keefe Center in Toronto. That's when he put out his No Respect comedy album. And that night, guess who opened for him?
Who?
Jim Carrey.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep. Jim Carrey was his opening act. That was the first day I ever heard of this guy, Jim Carrey, was at his show.
Oh, dude, Bill Murray?
Bill Murray? Oh, God.
Dude, Caddyshack was so funny. The gopher, dude. He's trying to get the gopher the whole time.
The gopher's always out.
He got dynamite everywhere, blowing up the ground.
Yeah. Iconic movies.
Oh, dude, and the way he talked through that whole thing was the best.
Which Bill Murray were we talking about? The movie, the
from
Caddyshack.
One?
Oh, Caddyshack, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Or what about was it
Groundhog's Day?
No, there was some League Under the Sea one where it was like a parody of Jacques Cousteau, but it was Bill Murray. That one was a good one.
I think I know what you're talking about. That sounds familiar.
And then the Zombieland one or whatever, where
I've never seen that.
Woody Harrelson kills Bill Murray by accident, in his house.
Stripes was a good one. Yeah, Eric in the chat, Stripes.
Oh God, I'm forgetting all this stuff. This was all 35, 40 years ago. Yeah.
Yes, Sasquatch. I've personally experienced Sasquatch in the Canadian wilderness twice, and
I've never
it's
seen one.
it's nothing to joke about in the wilderness, where they are the apex and they are the
Decider.
yeah, well, not just the deciders, but the inhabitants of that area, where it's like they have the population amongst it. And when you actually hear like the howl, scream, screech that they call to each other, and when like one calls and the other calls back from like one mountain range over, oh, I get the shivers right now just thinking about it, because it's like, oh,
Nice.
sorry, getting off topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what did he do when he saw you?
Okay, that I don't know. Should I go into that story today? I was in it. So the first time, I'll tell the first time. The first time it was with the Tsuut'ina Nations reserve. They were doing a rodeo just outside of Calgary in the foothills close to the Rocky Mountains, and I was there with one friend, and like all of a sudden, like these big boulders come rolling down the hill, and they're like Sasquatch, and like kind of laughing, like, they're trying to pull a fast one on us, Whitey. And it wasn't until I saw like the moms grabbing their children, like in sheer panic and fear, and like grabbing and like running to the cars and stuff. And then it was like you heard they're called the howls, and it was like a howl screech when they're close. And then the second time, it's more of a story, and that's when I encountered one where it was literally an inch away from me, and all that was separating was this very, very thin, flimsy metal between the old RV and the screen of the window, 8 feet tall up, where it was breathing, and the little curtain that had it closed, and that it was like I was so petrified. I wish I had I had my phone, and I was like using the flashlight to try to scare it away instead of recording, but it's like in the moment it is so freaking terrifying. But I grabbed some cologne and sprayed it at the window, and the thing dropped and it rolled away. And in the morning I went out, and sure enough, it was like this tall grass the day before. Like we were staying at a friend's place in a mountain town, and like it was waist high grass the whole way undisturbed. And sure enough, in the morning you saw these big like steps of it pressed down coming from the tree line, and then right at the window there's like 8 foot of like flattened, like when you go and see like a deer, where a deer laid sort of thing, and it's flat, like it's flattened like that. But this, you can see it was flattened all the way to this bush that I had heard it roll and like get up and leave. And it's so creepy. I guess I'm in so deep now, I should give the full context of the start of the story. So the dusk had just settled. It was like a small little camper that like fits on the back of like a pickup truck.
Yeah.
And we were probably, me and Amber were probably like the first people to stay in it in a couple of years. And it was on the opposite side of my friend's property, shout out Headley Man, and it was in Headley, BC, the big coastal mountains in British Columbia, Canada. But that his property was literally on the very edge of Headley, where it was probably like 6 acres backing on to the actual foot of the mountain going up, and that his house was on the very west side of the property, and that this camper was essentially pretty much on the very east. It was maybe 100 meters between where the camper was, separated by this tall grass, and where the tree line was. And that Craig Headley Man had just taken me and Amber there. We were about to settle down, Amber was in the camper, starting to like unload the sleeping bags, make the bed, sort of thing. She's like, turns to me and she's like, "Bernie, cut it out!" And I was sitting on the stairs at the very outside, having a smoke, and I at the same time was experiencing what the f is that thing, like looking and growling at us from the tree line. And she's like, "That's not funny." And I'm like, "It's not me growling, that's something else." And just terrified to get into the camper, and I start like boarding up the door, and she's like, "Holy f, you stink today, like you need to take a shower." I'm like, "Honey, that's not me." And she's like, "I never smelled anything like
Yeah.
you like that before." I'm like, "Yeah, you know, Sasquatch are notoriously known for
Stink.
smelling like absolute
Hell.
arse. Like it's
Yeah.
like a mix of like rotting flesh with the worst BO you've ever smelt, with like forest, like mildew sort of thing,
Yeah.
all in one. And so she's like, "That's not funny." I'm like, "I swear to God, there's something out there." And so we wait about like 10-15 minutes, and all of a sudden it was like at the very at the tree line of the mountain, like way up above, and it was right in the center of the mountain that is let out this crazy, and like I get the shivers every freaking time I remember it. It's just like this howl screech uh like call, and that we then heard like almost immediately a returning same howl screech from like the mountain valley, like one over from where Headley was. And it was like they called back and forth a couple times, and then Amber like fell asleep. It took about another 10 minutes, and I was like on guard. I had gotten like some fireworks and was like, "What the hell is going on?" And sure enough, I hear this thing like approach this camper walking up, and it was right in like the little kitchen thing, and there's like a 1 foot by 1 foot like little mesh screen, and the thinnest, flimsiest, like 40-year-old curtain ever. And I just hear like it braced, like you could, I heard two hands or paws or whatever, but it was not a bear. And this thing was like 8 feet up where this window was, like it just boom, boom, and all of a sudden, like it was like sniffing into the window, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's right there!" And that's when I grabbed the cologne and sprayed it out the window and put like my flashlight at the same time, and I heard the thing drop and roll. And yeah, for the story of then in the morning of the flattened grass, and freaking terrifying.
Well,
Freaking terrifying.
Dude, that's awesome.
Dramatic.
This is
So-
Bigfoot, right? Were you talking about Bigfoot?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bigfoot, Sasquatch, big, hairy, giant human-like thing potentially, but I never got to look at. Well, I did get the like they're smart enough. You just see the glowing eyes like peeking high up, like 7-8 feet, right next to a tree. But they always like make sure that you don't get like the full body of it, like they're hiding. And that I swear they're these things. One, they're nocturnal, and two, that they just like geckos can move like in very short distances, strike faster than the human eye can see. I swear these things like it's like a flash, like they'll you just see it like go between trees, sort of thing. It's very weird.
Yeah.
That's all I saw of it. I don't know.
So if it runs after you, you're pretty much dead. You can't outrun it. You know.
No. And what also led me to believe this and like understanding of it was there's a documentary, and I have not been able to find it for the life of me since it came out, I think in like 2008 or 9. It was done by the University of Alberta's like wildlife and anthropology department, which they're in Edmonton, but they went down right outside of Canmore, which is right next to Banff, which is really close to me where Calgary is, and that they had documented what they said was a family of 3 Sasquatch living in behind the Canmore Valley, the 3 sisters, like mountain, like glacial, whatever you'd call it, between up above in the straight back country. Anywho, they had videos where they set up all these cameras and they'd leave apples for the Sasquatch, and they said there was like a man, like a alpha male adult, and it was like off on its own, and then there was like an adolescent male and like what they thought was like a female of adult female or something with it, and it's like the 2 would come and you just see like this freaking crazy swipe thing take these apples, and like it's like they just, it's so quick it doesn't register. So for anyone setting up like trail cameras, like serious Sasquatch Bigfoot investigators, you need to have the fastest shutter speed possible on your camera, and probably also infrared, because they seem to only really be active at night. But to tie the story all together, this group from University of Edmonton that put this documentary forward, they had literally gathered enough physical evidence over their study of like 3 years that they had petitioned Ottawa, like the capital of Canada, to officially recognize and put Sasquatch on the Canadian endangered species list. And this was all public, and since then I have not been able to find the video and not ever heard another word from the news about it. But yeah, if anyone has seen that, or
I didn't know it was flashing fast.
Well, because and honest to God, yeah, you get the creeps every fucking time. They recorded the same howl screeches of the freaking things, and it's like, they move really fast, because you can hear like it coming like over a mountain, like back and forth, like the distances of how far it is, and then like when they call, like the next time when they've moved, it's like they get there. So it's until you experience it, I just sound like a crazy person. So I'm move forward, and we should watch a little bit of this free energy generator interview before we go, because this individual, he's open sourced it. He wants everybody to build their own and be skeptical of it, and it's the perfect like case study for, I believe, our community, for as many of us to try to replicate it as possible, as well as
is it the pipe
adaptations to them.
Is it the pipe?
I guess we're gonna find out here right
Oh,
away.
it is.
So this is the individual. Oh, stupid commercials. Stupid Canada. Stupid YouTube. My apologies. This is loading. No. There we no. Okay.
Really intrigued to know what led you in the 21st century to repeat an experiment that was brilliant but didn't
Shout
work.
out Mike Faraday.
Well, we have to understand that Faraday was groping almost in the dark, brilliantly groping. I think one of the greatest experimental scientists of all time. But he was figuring this.
So shout out Princeton and using the word groping, but we'll try to move past that.
Literally the first time with much of what he did. So he was asking questions that if they had been asked before, certainly hadn't been investigated. And he was aware that if you moved a circuit past a magnet, that you could generate electricity. And he was aware that the Earth had magnetism. So he thought, well, maybe I can construct a circuit, at least if it's big enough. And as the rotation of the Earth carries that circuit through the Earth's magnetic field, maybe I can generate electricity. He tried, but it doesn't work. And we understand very well now centuries later, why that simple experiment couldn't possibly work.
Yeah, I know. It's a fantastic experiment. Brilliant. Well done. Well done, Faraday, for trying it. And let's just establish that we're sitting right now, both of us, on a spinning globe that at the equator rotates at over 1,000 miles an hour. You and I are about 41 degrees north of the equator, so we're about 800 plus miles.
Sorry, I'm pausing it there again, just for the controversy of the whole flat earth thing. If a whole bunch of people build these generators in different latitudes, and some do it up by the North and South Pole and some do it in the middle, we'll actually start getting some testable or calculable results that will give evidence one way or the other. Just saying, but that's getting off topic.
Miles an hour. So, and it's a giant ball, and it's a magnet. We have a North Pole and a South Pole. So the idea of using the Earth as a rotational device, if only we could have, a way of inducing that power. I mean, of course, you could imagine a giant copper grid, round the Earth, and then you'd have the Earth spinning round, inducing power in a copper grid.
I am also pausing. I have never heard Simon stutter like that. He is super stoked to be with this inventor, I guess. But let's see a little more and see where it goes. Hopefully, there's some gold coming up.
Great, but how on earth would something that rotates with the Earth, Faraday's piece of metal, why did he think it would work, and how did you get it to work?
Right. Well, we have to remember that while Faraday was brilliant, he had no math. He wasn't a mathematical physicist. Mm-hmm. So he explored things with his experiments, and he didn't know whether it would work or not, and he was just trying to find out. In our case, it's easy to prove mathematically that the experiment he did can't work. Once you have 2 centuries of physics beyond where actually it's about a century worth, but by the time you get to Maxwell, it's clear that Faraday's experiment couldn't work. Mm-hmm. And that seems to settle it, right? It's impossible to do this. And what Kevin Hand and I realized, Kevin's at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, is my co-author on the original theory paper.
Right.
Kevin and I realized that there was a loophole in the proof that you write down that shows that it's impossible. That under very particular circumstances that involve topology and involve materials, it should be possible to violate that proof and actually generate at least a small amount of electricity.
Oh, right. So I'm very much in the Faraday camp, but like experimentalists build steam engines and things like that. So is it something to do with the north and south magnetic pole not being in line with the physical pole? Is that offset part of, could that be utilized? And also the magnetic field coming from Earth. So you're saying that the Earth's magnetic field is stationary and we're on the rocky bit are going round?
The part of the Earth's field that is axially symmetric is stationary, and we're moving through it at 350 miles per second. Yeah, 350 meters per second.
Yeah. 350 meters per second. We've got a generator, potentially. But I like it. But when Michael Faraday did his experiment, what did he use? I take it he used an iron rod.
Well, he tried. He did various experiments. I think the one we cite to in our paper is an experiment where he stretched a long wire, basically stretched a long circuit, and hoped that maybe that would generate electricity. But there's a problem with that approach. Suppose you used a rod. Suppose this is I don't care whether it's iron or not at this point. It's a conducting rod, say. Mm-hmm. And it's moving with us at 350 meters per second through the Earth's background field, the magnetic field of the Earth.
Right.
Actually, here in Princeton, the field's coming down this way, so I should tilt.
We'll talk about
make it
tilt.
perpendicular to the field.
Yeah.
So it's moving through the field.
Right.
And that means there is a magnetic force which is proportional to the velocity we're moving times the strength of the magnetic field.
Right.
And it's trying to push electrons this way let's see, V cross B.
Yeah.
Actually, it's trying to push electrons this way.
All right.
Okay. So, but then what happens is the electrons do move, but they move extremely rapidly. You can calculate the time scale for that. And for an object like this, it's a billionth of a second.
Right.
They spend redistributing themselves. And then once they redistribute, there are more electrons down this end than there are up at this end. And that causes an electric field that points in this direction that perfectly cancels the force from the motion through the magnetic field. And as soon as that happens, and that happens in a billionth of a second, it's game over. Nothing more happens.
There's no flow. There's no, you can't utilize that initial jump. It's gone.
Right. It's so short. It's useless. Right. And you should think of the electrons in this tube as in this metallic cylinder is continually just redistributing themselves on this ridiculously short time scale to perfectly cancel the magnetic force inside, so nothing can happen. And that's why Faraday's experiments couldn't work. He did many other experiments that worked brilliantly, but this effort on his part couldn't possibly work.
Sure. So after reading your paper, Chris, it seems that material science comes into the next element of how this might work. Maybe the electrons can move slower. Is that part of it?
There are two things. There are two things that are needed. And one is topology, and one is materials.
What's topology?
Exactly. So this isn't a solid tube; it's a hollow tube.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Topology is the field of mathematics that describes, say, why this hollow tube is fundamentally different from a solid tube.
Okay.
I can't start with a solid tube, and unless I tear it or break it and then fuse it back together again, I can't turn it into a hollow tube.
Right.
I can't turn a sphere into a donut, not without tearing it. I can turn a sphere into an American football, right? Those are, in that sense, those are topologically identical.
Okay.
But if I want to turn it into a donut, I have to break it. Right. So topology is a field of math that studies those differences.
Right.
And the first thing we realized was that if your conducting material has this kind of shape, and if it also has magnetic properties, you need those two things together.
Right.
That the electrons actually cannot redistribute themselves to cancel the magnetic force. You can prove that mathematically. They can't do it. It's still, I think, is just remarkable. It's remarkable to me that they're trying, but they can't do it. And that's a firm mathematical proof.
Pause. Did anyone want to put their thoughts in so far, and skip it ahead after that?
Well, this experiment's just like Wright's experiment when he was trying to create thunderstorms. Yeah, it's old school. This is typical old school stuff. 45 degrees, put it in the air, hollow tube. Yep. You're canceling out the transverse wave in order to get the scalar wave, and you're producing energy.
Right, but bam, right there. So finally, we have an actual, I guess, academic authority being like, oh, look, this stuff from 100 years ago might actually work. And, well, let's see.
Oh, it actually gets better than that. A French guy, Vili, was able to create a cold current tube. And it's the same thing, but you don't have to put it at an angle. And it's exactly the same thing that they used in the gray tube.
Yeah.
So the gray tube works in the exact same way with the cold current tube. It has it inside of it, and you're field flipping between the scalar component, which is the radiant energy, and with the hot energy, which is the transverse energy, so, and scalar being the longitudinal. So that's what the gray tube is. This isn't new science. This is old science, and this is a very low budget version of it.
Very cool.
Proof demonstration. Okay. And for any reasonable metal, like this object, this is mu metal, but that means it's mostly on nickel and any reasonable metal at this sort of scale, laboratory scale, it has a huge magnetic Reynolds number, and there's no effect. So the only way to get an effect is to find a material that has a low magnetic Reynolds number. And as a practical matter, so we spent some time trying to figure out whether there was anything that was conducting but would have a low magnetic Reynolds number at a scale we could work with easily in the lab.
Right.
We're nano fabrication specialists. It's possible that you could do these experiments by fabricating really small objects, but we don't have that expertise.
Printing.
And it turns out there's something called manganese zinc ferrite
tubes. Oh, manganese zinc ferrite they're using. Wonder about the graphite.
You broke open your old transistor radio.
Ferrites are used in the cores of transformers. Yep.
Right. And antennas and the sheet plastic radio, because they have the same useful property.
Hey, very positive.
They have a lot of common applications.
Right.
As soon as he said antennas and radios, you should already realize he's in scalar. That's where they're pulling the energy from. So the guy that says he can run his car on the radio waves that's going on, he learned how to pull in scalar waves, the scalar energy, the field. That's what he did. This is what this whole thing is about.
Yeah,
it's why it has no magnetic field, because it's scalar. It's not built the same, man.
Different dimensional energy.
It's radiant. It's not magnetic. You're going to get a slight magnetic to it, and that's it. And that's only because there's a field right next to it pushing upon it. It's the same reason in space you have the same problem.
Interesting.
Okay.
They keep calling it our magnetosphere, but there's no magnetism there. There's a slight bit that you would get from a static field, but not much. But it's really a radiant field in how it's protecting us and how the field actually slows things down and won't let them through the barrier.
Appreciate the analysis, Nathan. This could get a little good. We'll see how far this guy has developed it. But I feel you're leagues ahead.
Yeah.
They're conductors. They're ceramics. They're not really metals. They're ceramics. They're conductors. That's
a good sign. He's going into the ceramic magnet composite.
the conductivity of seawater, which is about the same conductivity that you and I have, right? We're basically seawater.
Right.
So, and that's a conductivity that's 1,000,000 times lower than this object or copper or aluminum, say. And that's what gives us our low magnetic Reynolds number. And if you have that paired with this topology, we predict that you should generate electricity. But you have to have both those things. Yeah, as you would imagine, we looked at a lot of different ferrites. Even most of the ferrites give you a large magnetic Reynolds number.
Wow.
So actually, you have to look pretty hard, and you have to have the right topology. But then, yeah.
Right.
Question, Nathan, what would happen if you start using one of these or some of these ceramic pull tubes in the center as like your ferrite cores to some of your Tesla coils and other coil systems?
Oh, dude, I'd immediately flip the field and turn it super hot. That's what it does.
It turns it super hot. And so is that heat coming out of your current that you're putting in, or is that heat coming out of the radiance field of energy?
So you're an air core transformer in a Tesla coil, and as soon as you put the core in there, you're going back to a traditional cord transformer. So what you're going to get is a lot more amperage in the field, and you're going to bring down the voltage. So if you wanted a usable volt, Take that core right there, put it right in the center of a Tesla coil, and you start to get to a usable volt again. It's the difference between a air core and a DC flyback and the type of energy you're getting out of it.
Okay, these are key things right here. And like we said, these guys are literally fields ahead of people that are supposedly leading the academic fields of this technology.
But then you also worked out you need to know where the flux of the Earth's magnetic field is in your hometown, where you're going to do the experiment. So the angle of the of how we move through the field, how it moved through the field, is also important.
That's correct. And that's actually a good thing from the point of view of the theory and experimentally testing the theory, because we're scientists, and that means we test, we come up with an idea, but then we test it in the lab.
Right.
And our theory predicts that if the object's oriented this way, it'll produce our current or produce our voltage. Take your pick how you want to characterize it.
Right.
Let me label one end of this object. Let me put a little pink label here at the top, so we know what I'm talking about. Okay. So here where I am in Princeton, the magnetic field of the Earth is coming down this way. Here's the object. At this orientation, the object's going to produce small voltages, minus 18 microvolts.
Yeah.
If I rotate the object this way, and we build a turntable so that our we measure both temperatures and voltages. We have 3 voltmeters connected to this thing, measuring those.
Yeah.
They're all on the turntable. The whole thing rotates together. Okay, so nothing changes except the orientation relative to the Earth's rotation. And here in Princeton, where I'm oriented the way I'm talking to you, we're moving that way.
Right.
We're rotating that way.
Right.
So if I
Do you want me to pause that or no?
So Brenny, he said find the magnetic field. So find the ley line that you're next to, and then go put it at the angle, and you'll have energy. Well, no duh. We haven't figured that one out yet. Let me go over here in California, Big Rock, okay, over by the Integratron, and let me just lay my pipe, and I get a ton of energy. I mean, is it really that difficult if you understand the physics of the Earth?
But the majority of people do not. Thus, that's why we need
They've
you.
been watching our show, so they're coming up with these ideas.
By the way, dude, just go pound a copper rod in the ground, throw a testicle right over top of it, and guess what? You're going to get more energy than he gets out of this pipe. And that's just from the grounding. Because the testicle is a pump in the way it's wound because of the ring it creates. Now the grounding's in it, you're going to pull the energy straight out of it without even a circuit attached. You could do the same thing in the air with an antenna. I mean, just put your antenna high enough and you're going to pull the energy right out of the air.
Find the energy corridor. Wow.
Yeah, that's all you have to do. You just have to know where to look.
If I rotate the object to be parallel to our direction of rotation, the voltage should go to 0.
After this, we're going to
reproduces error.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll skip it ahead here towards the end where he shows what his actual device is.
Mike says, look in the hole.
Oh my God.
I love that. I love that. Mike, you got true class, poise, and humor with that one. We need more Star Trek episodes.
Yeah. Return of the Whole.
Yes, this needs to be clipped. Star Trek, Return of the Whole. It's coming back. The Faraday cycle.
The search for Spock, Return of the Whole.
Return of the Whole. Cheers.
But if you can find a manufacturer that's producing them,
right?
Yeah. However, having said that, though, again, at the scale we're doing it, these are microvolts we're producing.
Sure.
Your typical
Free energy device is like the most minuscule of microvolts coming out. Is what he's saying.
voltmeter is not going to be measuring microvolts for you.
Right.
It's
You need
just
a
not.
piece of kit that can measure microvolts. Right.
You need a very different, a typical good voltmeter maybe measures down to millivolts.
Yeah.
And then you need a whole different level, that sort of laboratory level.
Oh my
device
God!
to measure
You have to get a
microvolts.
worse
That would be-
voltmeter. You have to buy
Here's another one. Whole strict
you had to pay more to get a crappier voltmeter to read this. That's
Princeton's finest, baby. Princeton's finest.
the next hurdle, and that comes with some expense.
Okay, yeah, but
he does realize we made a
Seems a
Corona
Darwin
motor
drill.
already, right? I mean, we literally can just pull it right out of the air. Oh man! By the way, the pyramid kind of.
Here's the look of yes. So I am gatekeeping this information, and don't look outside of my channel. Look right there.
Dude, I swear to God, give me a physics degree and I'd set their world on fire. It would be like, oh my God, how did you get all this energy? We didn't even have to get the special voltmeter for it.
very much for talking to me on my humble YouTube channel. Viewers, you can do the experiment at home. Chris is very keen to get people from the equator to the North and the South Pole to do it and see if the effect works. And what was the angle that they have to put the ferrite bar to actually produce an effect? If you want to do this at home, there's a couple of things you need to know. First of all, you need to get hold of a ferrite rod. They're pretty easy on eBay and Amazon to buy. Or stick together a number of chokes, which are already.
You need a really shitty voltmeter that measures the smallest amount of microvolts. And yes, you are not going to power even an LED with. You might power an LED, but probably not. Or what are we looking at here?
You're going to need a lot of planning to lay this pipe, man.
Hey, you know how sad this is? I could get more power out of a crystal radio set than that.
Yeah.
Right. So this is clearly we are debunking. This is Princeton trying to misdirect of free energy is real, but you can only get microvolts out of it. And, you should go do that right now.
Hey,
you can resonate your butt cheeks for more voltage than that.
That's right. I could fart more electrons.
And that is why Simon somehow has like hundreds of thousands, because the algorithms are like, hey, we're going to promote this gatekeeper.
You know you get voltage more out of an earth battery?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, literally.
My crystal cell set is like a nuclear reactor compared to this.
It's off the charts.
It is.
Right? Oh my God.
Go bury some alum out there and get some ferrite, Mike, and we'll create something that's way better for cheaper. It's cheaper than the pipe he has.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All you need is alum, graphite, and magnesium. That's it. You're done.
By the way, the pyramids themselves at a certain angle, Bernie, for a reason, because they're able to pull the scalar energy right out of the air and create a very small vortex over top of them. So you could literally put this pipe on top of the pyramid and do way better.
Yeah.
So this says it all. What is Simon's tagged video? Boop, 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 boop. All right, so I think we understand the gist of Professor Simon. Shout out to Jack Sarfati.
Dude, I like his work, though. I mean, dude, credit in all the world to have him on there. It's just for people who build this stuff, we already know there's way more energy than that, than just laying your pipe, dude.
If this is the best that Princeton can put out, we're in trouble.
Princeton needs to pay
Well,
me a
literally,
check,
right?
and
Like-
then I'll come over and do it for him.
Oh my god! Wow, my.
Can you imagine that, Mike? We get in there and we start redoing all their experiments, and they make real voltage that actually gets something done for once.
Yeah, exactly. I show my crystal cell and
For the love of God, please do so. Like they
I'll
can
go-
all be
I'll go.
fired, and you guys can finally be funded.
Oh,
Yeah,
by the
sure.
way, talking about funding, I've been waiting for. I've been putting pressure to the NRC, the National Research Center of Canada. Pressure, so they found my anti-gravity experiment. I pressured them like every year of the last 10 years. Originally, they ignore me. They completely ignore me. Now I finally got a hold of somebody, and now they finally refer me to some place. Well, they might fund and stuff like that. Man, it took me 10 years to get to that point, and I had reports. I had reports. If you go on what they found already, they found things like swimsuit for transgender, and they also found like $20 million for beans for eco like friendly beans in Africa. $20 million for eco friendly beans in Africa. I'll send you the video, man. It's a real joke.
Oh my God!
Just tell them your anti-gravity is transgender. Tell them the anti-gravity is going to lift their nut.
Yeah,
and
I
then,
should say
and
that.
then she'll be all right.
Really?
We want
Yeah.
to
Get all the funding in the world.
transition the dimensional something fields funding like that. Is that what we're supposed to do? I don't know.
And it's crazy. They found like swimsuit for transgenders, and it's like, what the fuck, man?
Tuck it. You gotta tuck it. You go to Target and get your tuckets. And then...
Oh my Lord God.
I
You
gotta
get
play
funded
one
for that
more.
one right away.
I
you need
gotta
some
play
funding.
1 minute of Professor Simon's previous video where he's so freaking hyped. He's like, man, free energy is so real. Anybody trying to debunk this like it's real? We got the experiments, and it's like for freaking microvolts, like that is where you're at. Like, my God.
I can urinate more.
You might get more out of it too.
Yeah.
With the crystals. Oh man.
Insane.
Wow. Okay, my mind is fried.
Hey Phil, show up in a dress and a nice wig, man, and tell them that you need funding. They'll give it to you.
Philita. Oh, so I'm gonna have to apply as Bernadette.
There you go.
Bernadette.
Bernadette the alchemist needs some money
The
for
transgender alchemist.
we're gonna transmutate something. Oh, God. Yay, Clown World.
Freaky
Yay.
Fridays with Mike Faraday.
He
All
did his
right.
experiments by putting electrodes in his butt.
All right, so listen to this. Like, this is just so freaking ridiculous how this Professor Simon. All right, anyone called Professor at this point, they're not really too onto the actual field and understanding what they're professors in. And wow, look at this.
Today, the 3rd of April, 2025, is going to be one of the most important days in your and humanity's history.
Oh
Today,
my
I'm
God,
going to
the most important days in human history, we got microvolts. Like, what?
I think next
My
week
God.
my background is going to be a giant rainbow.
Yeah, yes, right. But the joke will be the punny play is that it'll be like Isaac Newton separating the light through a prism, and that the rest of society is caught in a prison of their mind, and you need the prism of a rainbow to be happy.
Dude, I'll tell you what. We'll take Mike's cell, okay, the ones he just made, and then we'll go ahead and put it to my Tesla coil. We'll put it in the mud, and we'll make it conductive, and I'll get way more than microvolts out of it.
Yeah.
And we'll just start lighting up everything in the room. We won't even need any more energy. We won't use the wall plug, nothing.
All I have to do is stare at it really hard, and it'll put out more power. Jesus. Oh my God.
This guy does kind of look like the sort of guy that stares at goats or cows or something.
Do you feel like there's an electrostatic field that is making his hair kind of poof up like that? No.
If he was a real engineer, yes, but no, I think that is just hair gel so he can try to look like Tesla and Einstein, but not.
Yeah,
by the way, Bernie, all you have to do is put salt and water, and it literally will create more energy than this.
Yeah, stick a piece of zinc and copper in a freaking potato. Holy man.
Right, so I'm going to play just a little bit more because this is what I had seen yesterday, and we watched the new one, the interview live that I had not seen, and just get the contrasts of if this is supposedly the best that the world has, at least in control of our development and our education.
Hey, Bernie, you do realize that Mike's right. All you need to do is put your multimeter into a potato, and you've already won.
Yeah. Oh my God, you're right. You're actually holy F, they teach this in grade 3 freaking chemistry science class, not even chemistry at that point.
Your potato has more power than this.
So true. It's half a volt coming out of a freaking potato.
I could eat a can of beans.
So listen to this guy. Wow, we're
that produces free electricity, and it's not a scam. It's not an April Fool. It actually works. It's been invented by a physicist in Princeton University, and it's based on an invention by Michael Faraday from 1852, but was then dismissed and then ignored by the physics community for over 175 years. How to generate free electricity from the rotation of the Earth. Hey, everybody, welcome to a brave new world.
We're not going to tell you how much and that it's not enough to power a single goddamn thing. What? It's the single greatest day in human history, April 3rd, where we got free energy from the magnetosphere.
You can debunk it when you just plug it into a potato and say, "I'm done, I win." Right?
Yeah,
that's pretty bad.
Yeah,
I think next Friday we're gonna need you guys to do a demonstration of something exponentially stronger, and I will get the potato and I'll be like, "Look, we've got potato power free energy." And it actually powers an LED light. I
need to get me one of those crappy meters that probably cost a lot more, so I can measure my microvolts, and I'll lay some pipe out front. Maybe I should do it in the backyard.
Talking about laying ground pipe, you could probably pull more energy off of oil pipelines or even water pipelines in the ground.
Anything that's in the ground would pull more energy than this.
By far. It's a nuclear reactor.
How much is a Princeton's physics or engineering degree these days going for?
It's the minimum $40,000 a year US,
Yeah.
2 years, so at least $120,000. So your hair can be frizzy and you can pull microvolts out of your tinfoil oils.
I think they're getting ripped off right now.
Oh yeah, dude! Look, I told you the copper pipe in the ground. Just throw a Tesla coil over it, and you'll pull more energy than this. Dude, we already have the experiment. You didn't even have to turn on any circuits. There is no circuits to it. It's literally just a number 2 coil over a pipe. And you get more energy because Earth has energy in it.
Yeah.
And you don't even got to be on a ley line. That's what's great about it.
Yep.
No special lines, no special altitudes.
And meanwhile, we're gonna have Harvard reproduce this next week and get like 17 microvolt. Like what? Like
Yeah.
God.
Georgia Tech, MIT. Yeah, they might get 1 volt.
No. They right. You micro, then you got to go to milli, right? You got to get up and up. Like, oh man, it just
wow. Science at its best. All right, guys.
Absolutely. I'm gonna leave it on the note of this guy just realized that there's a thing called free energy and thinks the Earth is forever changed because they pulled a microvolt. Yay.
Wow.
Love you guys.
Wow.
Thanks for having me on, Mike. Kids.
Yep.
Thanks everyone for joining.
Oh, it's so fun, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, we went overboard tonight. That's okay. I got stink eye. Again, I've been up since 4 a.m. yesterday, so I'm a little tired. Yeah.
I too have pulled the 48-hour-ish from overworking and need to get to bed. So love y'all and thanks for having me.
Yep.
Nathan, send me an email there and let's do that stream with Joe and what you're talking about earlier. And
oh yeah, let's do that. That's gonna be fun, man. You'll like it.
Awesome.
100%.
Thanks everyone. Chat, you were great tonight. We go live to air again next Friday night at 9:00 Eastern. Don't forget to check out Nathan's channel, Bernie's channel. Philip, you have your channel as well. And thanks to the whole panel. Oh, and Ben, he had to leave a little early because he had to work. That's all right. Check out Benefactor as well. And we'll see everybody next week.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Take care. Cheers.
love y'all.